see how that works. How's everyone doing today?
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Sweet. Okay, let me see if I'm actually live on YouTube as well. I'm testing a new streaming setup through Zoom that I haven't done before. Okay. Oh, there it goes. Nice. Cool. How's everyone doing today? Yeah?
Yeah.
Danny, got your ears lowered. I see that. Look at that. Nice.
Yeah, I bought some trimmers from Amazon and cut my own hair.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I got a weed whacker too. Excellent.
Oh man. Curious how many people are going to show up for this one.
Yeah, oh cool. People are still joining in. That means that that it's working. Cool. Was the email like the way I situated it because I put the Zoom link in the button? So I don't know.
Worked for me. I just
it worked for you.
Worked for
Okay,
me.
cool.
Yeah,
Excellent. Well, lots of people are joining in, so that must mean good things.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, let me get my let me get the chat in case anyone watches via YouTube or Facebook. Okay, there we go. Cool. So today I've been working on a total CMS update today. Hopefully I'll get it out by the end of the day. I was hoping to get it out before the live stream, but I got 2 more bugs I got to fix that are causing me a headache. So, but I'll show you one thing really, really cool, and then we'll just kind of open it up for any questions. Okay. So you guys know in Total CMS 1.7, I released a bunch of new fields, right? And a lot of people are using those fields like really cool, crazy ways. And also there's this new image stack, right? And there was a problem, kind of a growing problem where people are like, how do I migrate from, because all their setups currently use gallery, right? In gallery, you can be like, show the featured image or show the last image or show the first image, right? But if you, let's say you want to migrate that sort of setup to this new image stack, but you don't want to have to go through potentially hundreds of old blog posts and upload a new image for every single one of those because you want to change your layout, right? So how can we make it flexible where if it's an image, show the new image, but for older ones, continue showing like the old gallery setup, right? And then on top of that, we got some new flags and like we have the new archive flagged, and people have been wanting to like, hey, how can I maybe leverage these little toggles to customize the look and feel, like the layouts, not only on the blog post page, but also in the blog list, right? So I came up with a solution to solve all of those problems. And I think it's pretty slick. It's really, really simple. And so, you know, on the blog post page, we've had a stack for years called blog layout rules. And that did get more powerful in 1.7. Let me share my screen so you guys can stop listening to me jabber on. Let me go share the screen here. Okay, close Zoom. All right, you guys are seeing Rapid Weaver right now? Just making sure. Okay, cool. This is a very ugly page. Again, I just kind of been using this for various testing throughout the days. But let's preview this really quick. Here. This is kind of a page that I've been using to test that kind of has all the various blog components all in one page. You don't want to do this. Yeah, you don't necessarily want to do this. Did I break something while I was playing around earlier? Hold on one second. What's going on? Oh, there it goes. Okay. So as you see, this is a blog list right here. Again, while it looks ugly, you'll see that some blog posts have images, some don't have images. You notice that some of these have these little header called archived. Well, guess what? Those ones have an archive tag, right? But so let's kind of show you what I did there. And then further, yeah, let's do that. So in the blog list, okay. So there's a new stack in the blog list, child stacks called layout rule. Okay. And in this layout rule stack, there's two settings, really super simple. You can have the logic, which is whether or not a setting has content or whether it doesn't have content or whether it's kind of on or off, right? So it's either, basically, is it true or is it false? Okay. And you can choose what field you want. So you could be like for example, right here, if it has content, so if archived is set to true, okay, on a particular blog post, we want to show this header archived, right? And I've done that here, right? So we've seen that's exactly what's on this page here. So if this is set to archived, then put in this header of archived, okay? Whereas the other ones, you don't see that inside the blog posts. So that's pretty cool. We can do a lot of other cool stuff though. Let's target the example of image, right? So let's say, let's set this to image. So what we could do is we could say, if the image has no content, for right now, I'm just going to do something simple. I'm going to say no image, okay? Just so we can see some content. So we can see how this rule works, okay? So if we preview this, we should see, oh yeah, here, no image. Sorry, there it is. No image, right? No image. So the older blog posts that didn't support images before now come through, and you can actually. So basically, instead of putting in something stupid like a header that says no image, you would add in the old gallery image stack, right? So in this example here, you would just say layout rule, if no image is defined, which means it's because it was never defined on older blog posts, you can use the gallery, right? And then you could have another rule, let's say for layout rule, right? So we'd have another layout rule that has, if it has content, right? So if image does exist, we can chuck in an image stack. There we go, right? So here, we can chuck in, if it doesn't have an image, display the gallery image. If it does have one, display the normal image, right? So that's kind of cool. And you can do other similar things, like even with existing things. So like if you wanted, I added a bunch of stuff here. So let's say if you wanted to base this on if the author field was filled out, right? You could say if the author has content, then you can, whatever you throw in there, whatever you're using it for, you can then chuck data into there. And all this works inside the blog list, which is pretty slick. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Look cool?
Been wanting. Thank you.
What a great idea, Joe.
Yeah. Cool. And on the blog, so on the blog post side, the layout rule stack, a very minor thing. If you wanted to have that similar logic for the gallery versus the new image stuff, if you use the empty logic, and then set the empty field to be image, essentially what you could then do is, now this one's kind of cool because you can actually have else logic in here. I can't do that on the blog list stack. It's just a technology thing, how they're done. These two stacks are done very, very differently because of things that are used. But here you can have an if true or false, right? So you could say if the image is empty, then you can add in a gallery, let's say a gallery image, right? And then if it's not empty, then you can add in the normal image, right? So this is a way where if you have a large blog and you don't want to go back to all your old blog posts to update the image, you can now use these layout rules to apply that logic, so that old blog posts can still display your your featured image in the gallery or the latest image or whatever, right? And then newer posts can display the actual image. Okay, that's cool. Let me look through my list, see if there's any other super awesome things. A couple other minor things in the admin stacks for blog images. before there was a max size of 1,000 that you could set a lot of these settings to. So I removed that. So if you want to have a thumbnail size set to 5,000 pixels, go for it. Okay. Yeah, I just, so before I was limiting you to 1,000, but a couple people were like, I want it more. I'm like, seriously? Okay. If you want a rope to hang yourself, okay, here you go. I definitely don't recommend having, thumbnails at 1,000, 2,000 pixels, but hey, I just make the bricks. So, I'll let you make your house. Yep. So that was actually a one I've been wanting to do for a while. Simple one. For people that are using dates and are not English speaking countries, the output. So if you were to output a date and put in the name of the month instead of numbers, that output will be localized to your language now. So that's kind of a minor but cool thing, right? So yeah, that's always a fun thing. Localization is always fun. Okay, I think that was basically it. There's a bunch of things were just minor little things. The couple bugs I am working on now, just to let you know, is in a blog form. Now let's go to a live page of this. All right, let's just click on this bad boy right here. So in a blog form, as of right now, for a blog image, like none of these buttons really worked, right? So if you clicked on this one, I have fixed this, but in your version, it doesn't work. So now all the paths are correct and the preview image and all that jazz actually works. Right now I'm working on delete. Right now you cannot delete a blog image, and you can't update the alt tag. So I'm working on that. So that'll be fixed hopefully by the end of today. You'll be able to delete and update alt tags. Right now you hit delete and you click OK, and it looks like it gets deleted. But then when you refresh the page, voila, it's back. So yeah, working on that. Okay. Well, now I'm done. I just want to open up the floor. Anyone have any questions they'd like to chat about?
Yeah, Joe, I've got one thing, or actually two little things that I was curious about, because I'm just getting into the, setting up blog stuff. And in the demo that you did on the content blog post page, there's a preview post entry, and in your demo you threw in a vacation-dream. I wasn't sure where that came from, or when somebody is setting up a fresh blog and they have no content, whether something is supposed to go in there or.
Sure, I have. So on the Total CMS product page, if you go to or actually on Weaver Space, don't go to, not totalcms.co, which is like a dedicated domain. If you go to the Total CMS product page on Weaver Space, there's a download section.
Yeah.
And there you can download sample data.
Yeah, no, I know that. So
okay, I think one of those blog posts in there is Dream Vacation or whatever it was, which is why in the demo it's set to that as the preview page.
Right. Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is that if somebody's starting from scratch and they have no content and they're not using your stuff, are we supposed to, or do we have to?
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so what that setting is it will because you want to be able to like style your blog post pages inside RapidWeaver. What you do is just set that permalink to be a permalink from your blog. Okay, so create some sort of just a dummy blog post if you don't have any real blog posts yet. And then what'll happen is Total CMS, when you're previewing it locally on your machine, it'll query for the blog data on your server, pull it down, and then insert that data into the RapidWeaver preview.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So that's what that's used for.
Okay. And the only other really quick question I have is the information that you're putting into all these fields in your blog post in terms of summary and content, and then you've got all the potential fields like author and stuff that you have in there.
Yep.
Are all of those things indexed by robots? Indexing for like Google and stuff like that, or
well, if you put that data on the page, yes. But if you don't put that data on anywhere on a web page, then Google won't know anything about that data.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The content of a blog post itself isn't going to actually, Google's not going to know about that. You're going to have
It
to.
will. I mean, on the blog post. So, I mean, Google's going to index your blog post page, right?
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so Google will index that.
Okay.
And actually, Total CMS creates a sitemap file for your blog.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So if you didn't know, here, let me show you. Let me share my screen.
So what you put in, like on the summary that's showing there or something, that's
Yeah.
all going to be indexed.
Yes, that will all be indexed. So so by default, because like we have a blog post page, right? Those aren't individual pages in RapReaver. So RapReaver doesn't generate a sitemap file for those, right?
Right.
So let me go back to that page that I created. So if we hover over blog, any blog list item, any blog post, and we click on the little link here, okay, this will open up a light box. And what you'll see is this URL to a blog sitemap.
Right.
Okay. What you do is you copy this URL, okay, and then submit that to Google.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Into the Google Search Console.
Okay.
And then what happens is this will dynamically get updated whenever you create a new blog post or whenever you edit a blog post. This sitemap will get updated.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that way, if you ever add a new blog post, Google will automatically get it indexed because of that.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate it.
No problem. And also in this, just while I'm in this window, if you guys didn't know, Total CMS does create an RSS feed for all your blog posts as well. So if you wanted to have that, so if you wanted to have subscribe to our RSS button or something like that, you could just copy this URL and put it in a button or a link somewhere on the page. Total CMS does. So there's an RSS meta tag that browsers Safari used to have like a little RSS button in the browser. So if like your blog page had an RSS feed, it would like put like a special RSS button there. Browsers don't do that anymore, which is unfortunate, but the meta tags for that is still there. I still put them there. So if someone's using an RSS reader to browse your site, I mean, that's an off chance, then the RSS reader will know that an RSS feed exists for this page. Okay. But if you wanted to explicitly put a link to that for people to subscribe, it's right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Good question. Any other questions?
Yes, Joe.
Yes.
I use the hero header and Eclipse,
Mm-hmm.
and they are very late loaded. Can I?
So Eclipse is taking a long time to load. Is that what you're thinking? You're saying?
No, every other part of the site is loaded. Then Google Analytics start, and after that, Eclipse load.
Okay.
It's
So
late in the
are you using a video or an image in Eclipse?
an image.
An image, and you've ensured that the image is scaled down. It's not like a 2 megabyte image or something like that.
No, it's a small image because I use it as a background with very low resolution.
Okay. Let me look how. Give me 1 second here. Let me just look at Eclipse. There's an option in Eclipse to preload backgrounds. I'm not sure that might help. And there's also a setting there for fade in, and what that does is if you set by default it's 2 seconds. So what it'll do is it'll fade those in very, very slowly. So if your website's loading really, really quick, that could potentially make it look like there's a delay. So I would play with those two settings. I'd play with the preload backgrounds option. And then also play with that fade in setting, maybe fade those in a little bit faster.
I use the preload and fade in. I have 500 milliseconds.
500 milliseconds. Oh, wow.
So it's very
Can we see a URL?
Yes, it's. Can I even kijken?
You can put it in the chat, and then I'll have a look at it.
Even kijken. I don't. How do we do it?
While you're doing that, I'm just. And also, where are you putting the Google Analytics code? Because you said you're sure that it's loading the images after Google Analytics loads.
I put Google in the body part.
In the body, okay.
Even kijken. Something's going wrong. I lost my Zoom.
Well, while he's doing that, Jody, how you doing? You're muted.
I'm all right,
Did you-
Joe. My mom has got medical issues. I think she's going to be transitioning soon, so I'm kind of
Oh
handling
no.
a lot of med. She's 93. She just
Oh
had her-
wow.
Yeah,
Long loved
so-
life then.
Exactly. So we're all kind of preparing.
Awesome. Well, didn't mean like that. But
Yeah, well, you know, it's life, the circle
life.
of life.
Yes, yes.
When will more videos be out on total? You're working on total CMS. I know that's an issue, and then new videos for Foundation 6. When do you think
Yes.
that'll all
Right.
come together?
Well, right now I'm actually working on a kind of a demo site for Total CM or for Foundation 6, so that
Yeah.
you can have some really nice, simple, clear examples, and then I'll supply the download. That should be done probably within a week or so. I hope, maybe 2 weeks tops. So I have the structure of the site built. I'm just populating it with various demos now.
Okay. Have you ever explored if there's any other way to display so many of the choices and options in a more UI friendly format? Or are you so restricted by both Rapid Weaver structure and Foundation structure in terms of how you can actually show that to the user?
Wait, repeat that again. I'm sorry.
Taking a look at it, I mean, obviously I'm familiar, although nobody could ever know everything about Foundation 1, and nobody
Yes.
could probably ever know anything about Foundation 6. It at first glance, without really
Mhm.
delving into it and working it and massaging it, it feels like an engineering project. And I'm just wondering,
Sure.
and that's because to me, it's more of the UI. And
Mhm.
so I was curious as to if it is at all possible to completely re-engineer the UI part, or are you so restricted by both Rapid Weaver and Foundation that you really have no other way of doing it?
I just came up with an idea on Friday at the Hangout, and I implemented it for kind of a. I am restricted by the stacks in RapidWeaver UI. I don't have complete freedom, right? But I think I came up with a very interesting idea, and here let's dive into that. Actually, let me answer Yap really quick. So Yap, I loaded your site, and that loads really quick for me, like really quick. And the background fades in because it fades in. That's what Eclipse does. If you want the background just to show immediately, don't use Eclipse, or maybe set that timeout to be 0 milliseconds. I'm not sure I can really make that any better. I mean, Eclipse, it immediately loads and fades in the background. If you don't want any fade in, you have two options. You either set Eclipse to 0 milliseconds, or instead of even using Eclipse at all, I think you're using Foundation 6 here. In site styles, you can just set the background image for your body to be this image. and that will be set in the CSS. And as soon as that image is loaded, it will show up on page load. There will be no fade in, no nothing. So those are your two options. I don't think Eclipse really, I think it's behaving as it's supposed to right now on your page.
Okay. And
Okay.
for the hero header, there's no preload mode.
No, the preloader in Foundation 6 is either the entire page or you can't preload sections. So, yeah, there is no preloader for various sections. It's just your entire page, and your page is loading like really fast.
Yes, I know.
For me, it is. I mean, for me, it's like under a second for me. Like it was, boom. Maybe I mean I have a pretty fast internet connection. Not like a lot of people have faster than me, but at least for me, your web page loads extremely fast, faster than mine. So,
okay, thank you.
no problem. So let me show you a couple things here. I will show you the current state of the kind of the demo project I'm working on. I think that could be fun. Maybe you guys can give me some feedback on that. Okay. So this is live online. And this is, if any of you want to visit it, it's foundationstacks.com/demo. And that, not everything is done, but it's getting there. And currently, the one that's the most complete is the layouts one. I spent the most time on this so far. So inside layouts, essentially what I did is you'll notice on the sidebar, there's obviously sections. And then inside there, you can like link to various sections of the page, right? So that's kind of a nice little menu option here. And then each one, so like if you go to navigation, you'll see there's all the various demos for navigation. And as you see, these ones aren't done at all. Okay.
Oh, this looks very good, Joe. I can see this is well organized. This is going to be very helpful.
Cool. So, so in here, basically what I did is I tried to replicate. So if you look at the foundation stacks themselves, obviously the stacks themselves are organized into groups, and each of these pages correlate to these groups, right? So these are the layout stacks. We have a navigation, we have a text content, we have image and media, we have animations, we have well, did I do a special one for buttons? I did. So there's one for buttons, right? There's ones for containers. Actually, I'm renaming containers to be components. I think that's better. And then we have one on forms, right? So, and obviously site styles as well.
Why components? Out of curiosity.
Because I don't know what, I mean, I think that's a better word, because I think I have a container stack, and I think having a set of stacks called containers could cause some confusion. So these kind of are components. It's an accordion, it's a tab, it's a launcher, it's a light box. So they are kind of components. If you have a better term, I'm all ears.
Okay, what are you calling your columns? So when you put when you put a container in there, for example, in your layout right there.
Okay, this is exactly what I'm talking about. See, so I'm not referring to the container stack.
Right.
Okay. I'm referring to, if you look at all of these stacks here, these red ones, they're in a group called Foundation 6 containers.
Oh, yeah, that is confusing.
Yeah, so I'm renaming this label from containers to be components. I mean, it's just this label. It's just because over here having a documentation section for containers conflicted with the container stack, which we potentially use a lot, right? So
exactly.
For that, it's just this label. It's just renaming this group so that there's zero confusion. Okay. So does that clear that up?
Absolutely, that
Cool.
makes sense. Good change.
Okay, cool. So here, let's go to the layout. So these are all the layouts. Here's some examples on what you can do for columns, right? So these actually use the columns, and you'll be able to download this project file that I used to build this demo site as well. So you can see how all this is done. So here's just a few examples of simple column layouts, right? So and if you hover over it, you'll see that there's a tooltip that kind of gives you a little bit of detail about. So this one's 50% on all devices. This one here on small, it's 100, 100. Medium, it goes to 50, 50. and then on large it goes to 66.33%, right? So and that's your, you know, these are responsive demos. So obviously, if you resize, you could see that how those columns react to the various sizes. Okay, so that's an example of just some columns. Block grid's pretty similar. It just shows you how to use a block grid and how the various settings you can do for that. Okay. Then we have a visibility stack. And again, if you change the browser size, you can see these boxes changing. So it'll hide some, it'll show some. And this box on the far left shows you what size you're currently on. So we're currently on a large. So if we go down, I'm now on medium. So we're showing medium. And then if we go further, we're now on small, right? And then you can see all these other boxes will change based on other criteria. Okay. And then we have the sticky examples. So like for here, if you notice this one, it's stuck to the bottom in this layout. So it's stuck to the bottom. And then if we go all the way to the top, it's now stuck to the top, right? So there's a couple sticky examples. And then we go into equalize height. So I have 3 columns, each with different sized content. And here we'll see that the sizes are all equalized. And then if you don't use equalized heights, you can actually change the vertical alignments as well. So we can do top alignment, middle alignment, bottom alignment, right? Source ordering, this means that we can like change the order of content based on the breakpoint. And I kind of give, this is kind of a confusing one to understand. So I gave a real world example here where I have a piece of text and then I have an image on the right. And normally in a normal two column stack, this image would break below. However, in this example, we see how in source ordering, how I can make the image go above the content, right? So that's an example of why source ordering is helpful in a real world example. And then we do some dividers. So we have horizontal and vertical dividers. And then we have an example of a vertical grid. And then at the bottom here, I have all video tutorials that I've done that are just for these stacks. So these are all the videos that I've done that are just for the layout stacks. Okay, because I have a lot of videos now for Foundation 6. This makes it a little bit easier to find a video that you might be interested in looking at.
That's incredibly helpful.
This is a really good start at organizing what, to me, I would call an overview of how to approach Foundation 6.
Yes.
How are you going to handle once you start throwing stacks onto the page, when you start delving into utilities and the swatches and the this and the that? Are you going to rely on the videos having a complete explanation, or are you going to be able to do something like this with the examples?
So I mean, I do have a site styles page here as well that tries to give some explanation about to do what, but as of right now, I'm planning on, so also utilities, this will be helpful, this web page, because there is a stack for utility classes that you can look at. That's kind of a pain to use sometimes. So you can actually go to this page and kind of use these little carrots to kind of expand and see all the various classes that are available to us here. But yes, I think a lot of those we'll stick with this site and videos for right now and see how that goes. And based on feedback from people on what else they need, then I'm happy to, maybe do some more stuff. But I think this is a great start. And yeah, and obviously we can do more videos based on that, and all those videos will be organized onto these pages. As you see that all these videos here are just for site styles related things, right? So utility classes, organizing your swatches, how to use site styles, how to use alternate colors, how to use swatches, right? Stuff like that. So, we'll definitely be doing more videos, and having them broken up into these groups, I think will definitely help.
Yes, it's an easy way to go right to what it is that you're trying to do and find the information.
Exactly.
After all, your goal is to cut down on tech support.
Yeah, exactly. And make it easier. Obviously, I make these tools, and I want to be. I definitely want more users to use them. And if users are frustrated using them, then that's no fun either, right? So obviously, I want to make my tools fun and powerful, and hopefully easy to use. I know that that is tough because of you know, a lot of the new complexities that have been added sometimes, but I try my best to make them as easy as possible to use and understand. And hopefully this helps with that. Side note, I really love this menu that I built for this site. It is off canvas. If you notice, as I scroll down, it kind of gets stuck. Once it reaches a particular point, it gets stuck. And then as we scroll down the page, we have little accents that accent the section it's on, right?
That's off. How is that off canvas? Could you explain that?
So off canvas, by default, so there's an option where you can set off canvas to be, or I'll open up the project.
Like a sidebar?
Yes.
Ooh.
And what's cool is when I go on, I have it on Medium. On Medium, off canvas isn't there permanently because there's not enough screen real estate for it, right? I mean, it would make this content too narrow. So what I did is, if you notice down here on the bottom, I have this little blob that gets shown. And if I click on it, then it opens up.
Cool. I don't have off canvas, but that's very utilitarian.
Off canvas is a part of Foundation 6.
Oh, okay. That's why I don't know. Surprise.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, it's a part of Foundation 6, and it's under the components containers. There we go. So there it is, off canvas. It's Foundation 6 stack. So I'm sure a lot of people will be curious on how I did all that. But yeah, it's really cool. And I like this little blob that kind of is down here on the bottom.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you are like, oh, how'd you get the little cool little X thing? That's just an SVG that I used instead of using the out of the box hamburger from Foundation 6, because that doesn't do any cool animations. I just found an SVG that does.
It reminds me of glider.
Yes, off canvas can be definitely used as a glider. And you can actually have off canvas come from either side or the top or the bottom. So yes, off canvas does have a lot of similarities to glider. You can also I have off canvas overlapping my page content. I think by default, what it does is it pushes the page content for you. So it'll like push the page content over, so it looks like it's beneath the web page, which is another cool look, but it's just different.
Can you put forms in off canvas like that to have that?
Sure, yeah, you can have forms over here. Sure. You can
Ooh.
put whatever you want. It's just a generic container, so you can put whatever you want. I just used it for menus. You can put whatever you want in it.
Great. Now I'm getting excited about Foundation 6.
So yeah, oh, another thing about this. Here, let's go to in the responsive design mode. Okay. So here, what's kind of cool, if you notice a lot of times people put mobile menu stuff up at the top, right? But that's not too useful, because when we're carrying our phones, where's our fingers going to be? They're down here at the bottom, right? So being able to quickly open and close this navigation with your thumb is very, very convenient, right? So I did this to kind of, I think that's a great implementation, and I hope more people start doing that, because, you know, if I put the menu up here at the top corner where a lot of people put them, it makes it difficult, right? I mean, especially with your phones getting a little bit larger, even with my big hands, it's hard for me to actually have to, you know, move the phone around or use two hands to tap it on, right? To tap that menu. But since it's at the bottom, that bottom left corner, I can quickly tap that really, really easily. Right. So that is a cool little
Is that just done with a position swatch?
yes. So yep, here we'll look. Yeah, this is the project. Let's go to this page. It's in this page layout, partial. Or is it there? There it is. So yeah, let's see. I think I have a demo. Let's look at this really quick. Height, position. Yeah. Yep. I just use a position swatch. Assign it to blob.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just have it at the bottom, 32 pixels by 16 pixels. Done.
Yeah.
If you're curious how I did this little blob thing, it's just a template. There's an F6 template for a blob. There it is. And it's just a one column with some fancy swatches for border radius and background colors and whatnot. And you get a cool little, if you notice, I could have done a circle here, but having it just a unique organic shape makes it more interesting.
It catches the eye much more quickly.
Yeah, it just makes it also a little bit more fun, right? It's just yeah. So there we go. That's a fun one.
Are you going to have any kind of an area where people who perhaps do little things like that want to offer it as templates where we can go check it out and maybe download them?
Yes, that is the ultimate goal for those download areas on all my product pages. So right now I control all of that, but eventually the plan is to allow you guys to upload content, and then once I approve it, it'll show up on the product page, and I'll definitely give you guys credit. So I can say like Jody Joy, contributed by Jody Joy and stuff like that. So so that yeah, giving you guys some credit too. But yes, yep, 100%.
Great.
And I added a little Easter egg onto this page too. Let's exit. And it adds nothing to the page other than if you just hover over this header, it kind of just shows you a cool little design. It's just for fun, right? And that is my quick flip stack, which I'm actually working on an update for. So yeah, I think it's nice adding little fun little things like that where it's not required to be there, but if someone discovers it, they're like, oh, look at that, fun little thing.
Hey, Joe, how did you make the little position thing for the menu where you are on the page? That little line.
Oh, that little line? Okay, so that is just so I use the on-page nav built into the menus. Okay, and then inside my styles, all I did was, where's the border? There it is. Oh no, not that one. Did I? Oh, I was late. I could have used a swatch for this. I was lazy and just did some CSS. But it's just a left border on the active menu item. So probably before I ship this to everybody, I'll create swatches out of all this CSS, and then so you guys can see it. But it's just a left border on the active menu item. So you could use a border swatch and just set the left border on an active menu item to be 2 pixels purple. And then when you use the on page nav, it will dynamically set that active class. So so it'll just be used. So yeah.
Is that a setting that it's going to be in the settings section?
No, so in the menu, it's something that just kind of happens automatically. So in the menu itself, I just set it to use on-page navigation, and then I set the style active menu item.
Oh,
and and that's already on all the menu stacks. So you just check that, and then what that does is that styles the active menu item, or it'll add a class, and then you can use swatches to style that active menu item.
Okay.
So inside us, like let's say for example on this one, I could just do add a border swatch, okay, and then I could use element, and then I could do menu active item, right? So I could do menu active item, and then I could just do this one. I only want the left border, right? So I would do detailed, and then I would set the left border to be purple, right? And then detailed here, I only want the left border to be 2 pixels. The rest are all 0. And then you could just say, I want it solid. And that's it. That's how you would do what I just did in a swatch.
Got it.
So again, use the element. You don't need to know how to find the active menu item. You just go to element and say, okay, I want to style all active menu items, right? And then boop, there you go. I mean, this is powerful because, yes, I could add this particular feature to the menus. Like I could be like, okay, add left border to all active menu items. And then you guys could configure that. But then that's like what, 4 or 5 settings. And then someone else is going to be like, oh, well, I want this other way to, style active menus. I want it to be underlined on the bottom. And that's another setting. And then someone else wants just the background color with some image or something like that, right? That just adds, if I were to add all those to the menu stack, the setting, we'd be where we were a year ago, right? Where the settings for stacks just get huge and complex.
Forever.
Right? And while you're not aware of it, that also affects how fast things are inside Rapid Weaver, right? Because it has more settings to process, right? But in this case, we built our own setting just by saying, hey, okay, I want to add a border to my active items. Okay. So we can do that now with a swatch, right? And it's flexible. Now the one of the thing that's great about them having in the stack settings is it gives you guys the ideas, right? You're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, right? But maybe not everyone has that idea, and that's where I think videos like this are helpful. I think people playing around or sharing their websites on Weaver Space, where we can all see what other people are doing to get ideas, right? I think that'll be a very important thing something I definitely want to start working on after we start getting this demo site shipped, right? Is now that we have the tools to kind of teach you the basics, the next level is giving you the ideas on how to do things, right? So yeah, there we go. And also we have things like Davide, released Foundation Box, which has some beautiful foundation templates. And then I believe there's actually a couple other people currently actively working on similar templates as well, so that people can start getting more ideas on how they can utilize Foundation 6 to its fullest extent. Cool. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to show you guys. So I'm not set on shipping this yet. I think I will though. So this is a pretty long page, right? And working on site styles is very critical, right? And a lot of times we're, let's say, at the very bottom of our page and we want to change something in site styles. So a lot of times what we have to do, we have to scroll all the way up and then go to site styles and then change whatever we need, right? And then after we make those changes, we've got to scroll all the way back down and then continue working where we're at. Okay. So I thought, how can we make this better? And so I came up with an idea and I implemented it at the Hangout on Friday. And I'll show it off right now. It's something called Shelf. It will get integrated into Foundation 6 if I decide to ship this. And essentially what it does is it puts a little drop zone area up at the top here. And I can add site styles into the shelf. Okay. And what's cool is now site styles is fixed at the top. So I'm at the bottom. Let's say I want to change something. I could just unhide site styles, make my changes, hide site styles again, and go back to work.
Yeah, that's cool, Joe.
Mm.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just selecting site style. I have a preference set so you can double click it and it automatically hides it. But you can also just use the little hidden thing. And again, it's always right there. So you can just unhide it, get whatever. And it also supports, like if you have a ton of, let's say you just have a buttload of swatches that make your screen bigger than the window, right? Okay. I just added a ton of swatches on here. So what this does is once you make site styles big, it's scrollable, right? So you can scroll through all your stuff in site styles. And when you're done, you can just hide it again and it's still just there.
Oh, do add that. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been using it since Friday. It's really good.
So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think that now one thing that's kind of very critical. So this is the shelf stack. The content that's within shelf is outside of the stack itself. It's just the way it needs to be done. If I were to delete this shelf stack, my site style's gone, right? So anything that I add into the shelf stack is is very critical that you actually remove it from the shelf if you want to get it out of the shelf. Okay. Oh, and you can also have it at the bottom. So if we go to the shelf stack, I can just say put it on the bottom, and now my site styles is at the bottom.
And if you do that by mistake, undo will rescue you from the hell.
Yes,
that
it will. Yes, undo will rest. And if you delete site styles, you'll kind of know it because your page is going to go from pretty to ugly, right?
Yeah.
I could see people saying, okay, I don't need that, or I don't want that, or let me just get rid of it. And go, oh my God.
Yeah, that's why I have a little warning inside the shelf set. Do not delete the stack if there's content inside of it. I know that probably won't help, but hey, it's there.
Okay.
Anyway, that is shelf. Although I do want to show you one other workflow that I think some people might not have thought of. Okay, and let's say let's move that up to the top. Let's say my site styles is a partial, because a lot of times our site styles are partials, right? So if our site styles is a partial, all right, let's go back. And let's say we add this partial into there, okay? So this does make it so if you double click on it, right? So you can still hide it and scroll down. And what you do is you double click on the partial and then it opens up the partial editor, right? And then you go back and you're back to where your page was. So that is an improvement of the workflow as well. You can just double click it, and if it's a partial, it just directly opens up that partial editor, which is pretty slick, right? There is another workflow that you can actually do right now without shelf that I wanted to show you guys. I think a lot of people don't know this. If you see this partial here, let me change it. Let's say live stream styles. Okay, I'm just going to call this. Change my name so we can find it easier. The live stream styles. Now, if you go to your partials inside RapidWeaver or inside stacks, right? You see all your partials here. And this is my live stream styles. That's this partial here. Okay. Now, if I'm further down my page, let's say down here, you can just go to your partials, double click on this, and it will open up that in an editor. And you click back and you're still right where you are. So that is another valid workflow. Okay. And you can do that now without shelf or anything, right? You just, you'd have to be in the partials. You have to know the name of your site styles partial. And if you double click it, it will open up the partial editor for that. So that is another valid workflow for quickly accessing site styles without having to scroll all the way to the top and, editing the partial or the stack. Cool. You guys still like shelf? You think that's a useful thing?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, cool.
As good as your pen stack, Joe.
It's as good as my pen stack?
Yes.
Yeah. Pen 2.0.
If you do a video on it, though, show the different workflows that you just showed us so that
Okay.
people have an idea of
Sure.
what they can do or not do.
Roger that. Excellent. Any other questions?
The only one I had is that in the Foundation 6 text content section, you've got a stack in there called table.
Yes.
I pulled that out onto a page to take a look at it and wasn't quite sure what to do with it. So I didn't know if there was like an explanation anywhere or a video.
So that is it's kind of a hacked stack together to be honest. I mean, if you double click on it to edit the table, you'll notice that it is just it's like all this strange weirdness. Okay. And that's Markdown.
Yeah.
So if you just Google Markdown tables, you can see all the various syntax for Markdown tables.
Okay.
Joe,
It's pretty, I mean, that example is pretty clear, right? I mean, you have the pipes to separate your cells and whatnot, but I can see how it could be, difficult for some people to figure out.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out a best approach. If I've got a site in which I'm going to have to be putting up a bunch of tables, and I would rather edit them through Total CMS, but I have 30 rows and maybe 8 columns or something like that, and then problem of how do you keep that looking good when you compress down to a phone and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that is an issue with tables, right? Especially with large data tables. Another option for tables, like if you wanted to do like something like Power Grid CSV, can import a CSV file. And actually, Total CMS also has I don't even remember what it's called. Data store. Has something called a data store. It lets you build out here, it's been a while since I've even played with it, to be honest with you. It's actually one of the components I don't have a direct replacement for yet in Total CMS 2, but that shouldn't stop you from using it. Okay. So inside data store, I want the content side. Oops, where'd that go? Okay. So data store, you can kind of build out some data. Okay. So you can put in as many fields as you would like, and you can even make them hidden static fields or required, and then you can also make it a larger lines up. But it is very simple. Okay. It is just straight up data, and then what you do is when a data store form is saved, okay, it's actually saved as a CSV file inside Total CMS. Okay. And then this particular stack here, so this is the admin part of, because it was kind of meant for on the content side, users can submit data inside this form. And then on this stack here, you can actually download that CSV file. Okay. Or you can even edit the CSV file. So you can bulk edit the CSV. As you see this, apparently I have some data in here as a test. Okay. So you can bulk edit it, or you can just straight download it. Now, one thing that's kind of cool is if you were to copy this download link button, you should be able to put that directly into Power Grid CSV. And that will then take that CSV data and display it in a table. This is actually something I haven't looked at this in a very, very long time. This just reminded me about this. So that should all work. So another alternative for you, because Power Grid CSV has a lot of powerful table stuff, right? That would be potentially easier than trying to have all of this data. Now, Total CMS does support this syntax. Now, actually, I added that in 1.7. That's a completely new thing. Before, you couldn't do markdown tables in Total CMS. You can now. I just added that in version 1.7. So if you decide to go this route, you can do this in Total CMS. It supports it now after 1.7. But just wanted to give you some other ideas on what you could use, other ways of doing that.
Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, John.
All right, okay. I've been trying to get in once or twice, but should I be worried about downloading 6?
Worried about downloading 6? What do you mean?
Yeah, because I am Foundation 6, sorry.
Okay.
I've been using RapidWeaver since 5. I'm now 8, and every time I upgrade or change or download something, my file structure gets put all over the place, and I've got to spend.
So what's nice about Foundation 6? Were you a Foundation 1 user?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a completely new stack. So all your Foundation stuff, all your Foundation 1 stuff, will continue to work on its own. Think of Foundation 6 as a completely different product. It doesn't overwrite. It both can live at the same exact time on your machine.
So what about the sites I've done in?
So if you want to move a site to use Foundation 6, you're going to have to redesign the site.
All right.
There is no upgrade path.
Right.
So,
okay.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Foundation 6 is fundamentally so different at its core that it just would have been impossible for me to try to upgrade everyone's site. It's just completely different.
Right. Yeah, that's what's worrying me. I'm using 1.9 at the moment.
Yes,
and
that is the latest version of Foundation 1 is 1.9.
Yeah. So I would have problems going from 1.9 to 6 then, or no?
No, you won't have any. I mean, your Foundation, again, your Foundation 1 site will continue to work. But if you want that site to use Foundation 6, you're going to have to rebuild that site. Now, if you're using non-Foundation stacks, you could just copy those over. But none of the Foundation 1 stacks will work with the Foundation 6 theme. So you will have to migrate the site to use all the Foundation 6 stacks because they are very fundamentally different.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I've been watching this for quite some time now,
Yeah.
and really, I'm almost there to push the button. But
Yeah.
I'm a bit concerned about my sites existing and whether it's going to cop them up or not. You know?
Nope, it will not. Your existing, so if you only want to work on one site at a time, like all your existing sites will continue to work, and you can still update them using Foundation 1.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe, for that.
Just to illustrate again, here, let's go into Rapid Weaver. And if we go into all my stacks, okay, we'll see that if I scroll down here, here's all the Foundation 1 stacks, right? So here's all the Foundation 1 stacks that you're probably familiar with all these icons, right? They're still all there. They still all work, but just below them is all the Foundation 6 stacks. So it's just like having it's like having two products installed, and they will completely work side by side.
So when I download 6, it will format all those into the right categories.
Yes, it will. Yes, inside the stacks library, they'll all be in the correct categories. Okay. And what I do is you can create stack groups. So what I did is I have a group here for Foundation 1 stacks, and then I have another group that has Foundation 6 stacks. Okay. So I just create two different groups here so that I can access those a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I have done that. But yeah, that's great, Joe. Thanks for that.
No problem, John.
Okay, please notice that you cannot mix this both. So you cannot.
Yeah, you can't mix them on the same website. Yeah, I mean, once if you decide you want a project to be used, to use Foundation 6, it is recommended. I would just start a new project file and kind of start clean, and then you can copy some things over, like your content or text and things of that nature, if you need to. But yeah, definitely take this as a time to reimagine your websites and see what else you could do with them.
Right. Okay. I'm going to push the button then today.
Awesome. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I have a comment for John.
Yes.
Hey, John, you know what I did? I took my simplest site and then I recreated it in Foundation 6, by the way. And that was, besides the hamburger menu, which was maddening, it was cleaner and it was 60% faster. I mean, it even looks the same. So take your simplest site and then just start picking it apart. And then once you do one, the rest of them will all fall together.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my site's pretty simple anyway, but I just don't want to cock it up,
Yep, I understand. Actually, you know what? And actually, Davide is going to give a very interesting talk and he's here today. Wave, Davide.
How's it going?
He's going to be giving a talk at the conference this next month, and he's going to be talking about how to get the most out of Foundation 6 stacks. And he's took it upon himself. He's challenged himself over the past few months, especially building these project files, to use only Foundation 6 stacks. And I think it's been a very eye-opening experience for him. And he's going to convey a lot of what he's learned at the conference next month.
What are the dates for the conference?
October 23rd to the 25th.
Arg.
And again, it'll all be recorded. I have a setup. They should be up within a day or two. So yeah, I'll have the recordings up almost immediately.
It was a very eye-opening experience for me that when working on Foundation box, I can guarantee that we use right now, during the Foundation 1 era, let's call it, we needed extra stacks to really developing the idea I had. for a specific website. Now that we move to Foundation 6 and all the power that swatches give us and all the pseudo states and what's on, I mean, we can honestly get rid of 95% of the stocks in your library and do everything with Foundation 6.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a sale. That's a sale pitch for a talk if I ever heard.
And that was all improvised. Yeah.
He's got a script going down.
I'll send you the tip later, Davide.
Awesome.
And if you guys haven't, Davide is also the one that does foundationbox.studio, some amazing templates for Foundation 6 as well. Oh, I just noticed Stephen Brockert. He put in this cool. There's a few of these online. Let's see. This one's tablesgenerator.com. Oh yeah, I've seen this one here, and this is a cool little site that will generate markdown tables for you, right? So you can kind of put in how you want to design your table, and then it'll generate the markdown for you for it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So you can add stuff. You can do left aligned, or I haven't played around with this particular one, or you can give the size of the table. So yeah, that's interesting. Actually, if you look here, coincidentally, this looks to be the exact dummy data that I used in my table stack. I must have been to this site before. That is funny. Yeah, this is the exact markdown that is inside my demo. Oh, wherever it is.
I use this site very often because the markdown syntax for the tables is a little bit tricky, I think.
It can definitely be tricky. So yeah, that is a great little tool. If you want to use markdown tables. Good call. Thank you very much, John, for bringing that up. That's awesome. Or sorry, Stephen brought that up. Said John.
Yes.
Sorry, Stephen.
Yeah.
Joe, by the way,
you up with those scoundrels named John.
By the way, another question. I built for myself, for my personal use, a little sharing platform for RabbitWeaver project files.
Okay.
And every time I buy a stack, I put the demo project file on this platform, and I make a new subdomain, and I publish this project file there.
Oh, okay.
And when I created a nice template in Foundation 6, and I want to share this template with the community, maybe with the Weaver Space community, is it possible to export just the template, except just the whole project file?
So you want to export a template instead of a project file?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be very nice to have a sharing platform for just templates and not for the whole, because I don't want to share the whole project file, just the template I created.
Yes. I agree, and it's something I definitely want to do that on Weaver Space. I'll show you how to access, if you create a template, how to access that. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so let me share my screen.
But Stephen, are you asking how do you just show and demonstrate just the template instead of your whole project? Is that your question?
Yes, I think templates are the best way to learn all this complex stuff.
What you would do then is copy your project and then strip out everything except what's for the template.
Right, but I think this is too much work. It would be better to export and import in template.
Yes, I will teach you how to do that. Okay, so here's an example. I think I built this layout on the Hangout on Friday, I think, right? But let's say I wanted to make this layout a template. Okay. Now, actually, this actually might be a very nice layout to have as a template as a part of my template pack. Okay. Let's teach you how to do that. So this particular column pro is this layout. Okay. Actually, there's actually some swatches, and here, let's do this. Oh man, what did I do here? I was playing around with stuff.
Oh, you were testing out the scroll on the shelf stack.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're not good.
I use utility classes on everything. So so yeah, all of this uses utility classes. If I were to ship this as a project, I'd probably, I don't know, maybe I'd swap it to be swatches instead, but I use utility classes for all this. Okay, but anyway, so this columns pro is this layout. Okay, so let's say I wanted to create this as a template. I select my columns pro and I click this red button. Okay, and that creates a template for me. And let's just call this like overlapping columns. Okay, so now I have a template called overlapping columns. Now what's important is once you click this back button out of a template, you cannot go back in. Okay, so like if you want to put in your name, if you wanted to put Joe Workman in here, okay, man, I can't type here at all. Or if you wanted to put in, I don't know, Foundation 6 as a tag or something like that, okay, you have to put everything you need and maybe put a little subtitle or what it is, okay, and then you click back. I now have a template here called overlapping columns, okay. And I can't edit a template. You could double click on it. It says, do you want to convert it to an external, or convert it to a partial? Okay. How do we access this now? How can I share this with all of you? Okay. So what you do is you go into your templates. It's the red icon in your Stacks library, and let's find this one. Let's just Earl search. Overlap. There it is. Okay. So here it is in my library. And I can right click and say show in Finder. And there it is. It unfortunately Stacks sometimes it doesn't always carry the name over. So you can rename that to be overlapping columns .stack. Okay. But that is that. This is now you can now zip this up. Okay. And give it to anyone you want. Right, I could drop this onto, I use Droppler. I could drop that onto Droppler. And then I can go to the chat room right here. Chat. And if you want to see, if you guys want to download that, there's the download link for that template that I just created. Okay. And it is a stack and users can install it just like they install a stack. Okay. And it will show up in their libraries. Inside their templates. Okay.
That is exactly the thing I searched for, because now I can put a template in a TCMS depot, and yes. It will be zipped, and another user or maybe I by myself can download this template and import it or install it into my project file.
Correct. Yep. So I didn't do that step because Droppler zips it for me automatically, but you will want to right click on it and say compress, right? So you definitely want to zip it before you upload it, because the stack isn't, it's actually a folder of files. It's not a binary file. So you are going to want to compress that or zip that file up, the stack, before you upload it anywhere.
But if I upload a RapidWeaver project file to a depot, it's zipped automatically.
No, you'll have to zip it before you upload it.
No.
Yeah, a project file is a folder as well. It's not a binary file. You shouldn't be able to upload a RapidWeaver project file directly into a depot. Yeah. Maybe if you've done that, I'd be surprised. I wouldn't, because I don't have any, unless the browser, Safari or a browser does it automatically, which would be news to me, which would be kind of cool.
What I created is a blog where the user can upload his project file.
Yep.
in a depot, and after he has uploaded the project file, he needs to copy the path. With little link symbol.
Yes. Yes.
And put it in a field and paste the path there. And in the blog, there's a download button for the project
Awesome.
file, and this is
Very cool.
a zip file. I upload a RW8 file and download a zip file.
Really?
So
I don't have any code in Total CMS to do that. So that means the browser must be doing that for you, because I don't have any. My code doesn't do that. Total CMS doesn't do that. So interesting. To be honest, I never tried that because I never thought it would work. But if you say it works, that's awesome. I'll test it out later.
Perfect.
No, it's probably a little too much work to do the right very now. We're kind of reaching the end here, but I'll definitely play around with that, and I'll trust you for now. I mean, that's really cool. My guess is that it's the browser that's zipping it for you, because in OS 10, let's see, let's just go to Finder. Like these stacks, right? If you were to right click on it, and if you see show package contents, that means it's actually a folder, right? So I can right click, and then this is the contents of that stack, right? So there's the images that I have inside my template with some other data about the template, right? And same thing, I'm pretty sure project files are like that too, right? So if I go to Joe Workman, here's a RapReaver project, right? You right click, it says show package contents. And this is the contents of a RapReaver project. It's a folder of files. So I'm assuming the browser must automatically do that for you, which is interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. Can I share my screen and
yeah, sure, go for it. Why not?
Isn't that interesting that the browser does it itself?
Yeah, I'm thinking that I would assume it's probably he's using Chrome too. Could be, yeah, interesting.
So do you see something?
Yes. Yep.
So this is just a demo project, not a real sharing platform.
Yep.
So you can make just a blog, upload. Maybe this, you see, it's a normal project file.
And it zips it. That is definitely the browser doing that. 100%. That is very, very interesting. I'm wondering if that also works in Safari. Can you test that? I'm wondering if that's a Chrome thing, because that's definitely the browser doing that. Very interesting.
Let's have a try.
Guess what stack that is?
I love that stack, actually. Oh, you don't have www in the domain. It's not going to work. I see the error in the browser. Interesting. Look at that. The browser, the Safari does it too. That is amazing.
It's the same thing.
Same thing. I agree. That is really cool. I learned something new today. Thank you very much, Stephen. I never would have thought that would work. Very cool.
That's pretty awesome, actually. Like, that's a really cool little thing. Huh. Very interesting.
And now the...
It's kind of like, so let me tell you a story. It's, a lot of times we take technology or what we know about technology for granted, right? And things that used to be the case, but maybe they've changed and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. So for example, my son, has a Mac, and he creates his login, his user login, and I asked him, oh, what's your account password so I can log into his account? And he told me like, I don't remember what it was, but Blue Dog. Let's just say it's Blue Dog, right? So I typed Blue Dog, nothing. I tried like all combinations of Blue Dog, and he came and he typed it and it worked. I'm like, what the hell? What's your password? He did Blue Space Dog.
Oh.
Wow.
And to him, he just typed Blue Space Dog. Like it was, but to me, I was like, wait, what? Like, and I was just like, like
Wow.
he had a space. I was just like, you have a space in your password? And just that one little thing, like it seemed obvious to him, but to me, I was my mind was blown. Pretty crazy.
And users.
So similar thing with these zip files. We're just similar thing here where we're like, hey, you have to compress it before you upload it. You can't upload a project file. And then he's like, yes, you can. I'm like, no, you can't. But look at that, it works. You know.
We're old dogs, and the kids will be teaching us new tricks.
Amen.
That's
Amen,
right.
Jody.
That's right.
So if you ever want a secure password, put a space in it.
Can you do it in page safe?
I don't know. Yeah, crazy.
We're all going to be trying.
Yep. Cool. Well, guys, we went over an extra 20 minutes, so I appreciate you guys coming today. Hope you guys had fun. I like doing these every now and then, you know, because it's a different time than our Friday Hangouts, and a lot of other people can join in. So I appreciate that. A lot of new faces. And yeah, thanks for coming. Hope you learned a little bit today, had a little bit of fun. And hopefully we'll see some of you on Friday at the Hangouts. If not, we'll see the rest of you next week at the live stream.
Okay.
Oh, wait, and check out, hey, go to summit.weavers.space, get your ticket to this conference. I'll be sending out an email tomorrow if you're on the email list with some of the speakers. I've been uploading all the speakers and their talks and stuff like that. So check that out. And hopefully we'll see you next month at the conference too, because it's this times 3 days, right? It's a lot of fun. So cool. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.